Okay, this was a piece I picked up recently. This is a storyboard page from the production of Journey to the Center of the Earth. This was a series that ran for one season in 1967. This happens to be page one. I generally like to collect page ones if I can, maybe with a few more pages. Sets are hard to come by, and of course, each piece of art adds up when you're looking at cost. This is one of 43 pages used to shoot this episode of The Creatures of the Swamp. This episode was released as the fourth episode of the 17 episode season in 1967. Again, the only season, so it's single run. Very rare when you put it into context. There's maybe 750, maybe 730 total storyboard pages from Filmation on this entire series. So this is kind of rare to come by. I've never seen one from this series, and I thought it was very interesting. I liked the artwork on it. The subject matter is great with the swamp and, of course, the dinosaur characters, crocodile, some suspense in there. And page ones always give you a title card, usually a nice intro, master shot on a large, beautiful panning background. So what I like to do when I find a piece, I'll do a little bit of research if I'm not familiar with it. If I'm attracted to it, the artwork, in particular with storyboards, I like what I call messy, to have a lot of different screen direction, notes, different media. We can see there's graphite. You have the standard pencil here, red pencil here. It's been redone and enhanced with pen. Most of this piece is drawn with Sharpie. And then you have the marker here, highlighting the reframing of the camera for these field cuts. Filmation usually organizes each scene here, each shot with its scene number, background number, and then any camera direction. Of course, you have dialogue on the bottom, and then they'll add notes with special effects. Several of Filmation's productions will do stamps for the supervisor approval before it goes on to the animators. And of course, there's many other details and features from storyboard to storyboard. But in particular, this one has a lot of nice subject matter. It says, "Truck in as Croc opens mouth." This preceding frame would be shot, and then the camera would move in, close in to this field view. So I also like page ones because you just get a good intro to the story, and as a piece in a gallery, it's a little bit easier to maybe comprehend starting off in a story than picking up in the middle somewhere. So there's a lot of value to that, and as an art piece itself, they're very attractive to see a title card, usually great opening shots, and especially if you can get a lot of the main and familiar characters on the page. Dialogue is also important. It kind of reads like a comic. So you have your cast going through the swamp on this rope bridge. And then Cindy says, "Are you sure this bridge is safe?" So they start to dialogue about it. "Well, it better be, because it's sure." And then he gets cut off. It doesn't look very safe down there. Then he cut to the gator or the croc. The professor advises here, "Keep moving. I want to get off this bridge as soon as possible." The guide asks, "What was that?" There's an effect here. You hear a roar. And then Cindy says, "Something's wrong with the bridge cables." So we can kind of anticipate what's to come next, what's on the second sheet. Maybe this bridge snaps or something and they just make it off. The cast is only 3 actors. Ted Knight voices the professor. He's best known, probably in my opinion, for playing the judge in Caddyshack. Pop culture movie enthusiasts would certainly appreciate that. The niece, Cindy Lindenbrook, is voiced by Jane Webb. This was actually her first production, this series, and she went on to voice about 20 plus years of animated series. Most notably, played Betty and Veronica in the Archie series in a few different ones. And then the student Alec is voiced by Pat Harrington Jr. He also voices the guide. Oftentimes when you're presented with production animation art, it tends to center on the cells or maybe a cell setup on a background. And the storyboard is often overlooked. So are model cells, title cards, backgrounds, drawings, layouts, lots of other forms of artwork, stages of artwork that help comprise the finished product. You may be surprised to know that even with all that's involved in here, with a page 1 of only 17 episodes in this series, that's almost 60 years old. This hand-drawn page cost me $28 on eBay, and I just got this in June of 2025. I tend to gravitate towards storyboards because they tell a lot behind the scenes, and they give us a view inside the animator's room in the studio. They show what the creators were thinking, oftentimes modifying or changing the dialogue, moving scenes around, cutting scenes, discussing different effects or the intent of mood or other goals that will get conveyed when this production's released. So let's just look at the textures a little bit here. So I'll just move these pieces here. You can get a little bit better perspective of the touches of the Sharpie, the markers, the pencil. Just see what kind of detail went into these as far as the artist. The artist's hand, anyway. Again, I really like to find my storyboards what I call messy. The more direction on them, the more scratch outs, mistakes, corrections, information, the better. So I feel like I'm stepping back into time, into an animation studio where information's provided on what was intended. Conversations play out on these storyboards at times in terms of don't use this, change that, cut this, etc., and why, and using different backgrounds or looks and camera movements, sound effects, etc. So, and sometimes these storyboards preserve ideas that were once intended to be in the final production but got cut for just storytelling decisions, or maybe the length was too long or so. I'll go after pieces for productions that are close to me, I really like, but then sometimes, like in this case, it's definitely just about the art associated with the rarity of the production. It's just something you're not going to find. It makes a good story. It has a story in it. It's all original, hand-drawn, hand-penned, and it just comes to life in a frame. It's looking back in time, when animation was big, sci-fi productions were huge, and lots of talents in an art form that all but doesn't exist anymore.